Welcome, our honored viewers. Step into a journey through the ancient pages of wisdom and time. Two paths lie before you. One is paved with shining gold, leading directly to a fatal abyss. The other path is truly steep, filled with jagged stones, yet it ascends toward the eternal light. Proverbs do not measure a fool by his intellect, but by his defiance of absolute truth. Are you building your life on an unshakable rock, or resting upon the shifting desert sands? In the vast and ancient desert, a lone traveler stands before the great crossroads of destiny. To his left lies a wide avenue, covered in smooth stones and bordered by refreshing shadows. To his right stands a narrow, treacherous ascent, carved deeply into the unforgiving mountain rock. The arrogant fool steps onto the wide road with immense pride, wearing robes of bright purple and red silk. He laughs at the harsh mountain, believing his great wealth and comfort are the ultimate human goals. Meanwhile, the wise man grasps his weathered olive wood staff, choosing the rocky path without any fear. His rough linen tunic blows in the dry desert wind as he takes his very first heavy step upward. The wise man knows that true wisdom requires discipline, and the journey will test his fragile spirit. The fool marches forward, completely blind to the fact that his easy road ends at a deadly cliff. He swings his golden goblet, singing songs of endless joy, ignoring the warnings of ancient prophets. He seeks only immediate pleasure, filling his days with empty laughter and temporary gains. The wise man breathes heavily, feeling the sharp stones beneath his feet. Yet his eyes remain on the peak. He does not seek the loud applause of the massive crowds, but only the silent approval of his God. The fool gathers a massive following of blind admirers, feeding their egos with beautiful lies. He promises them an easy life without any pain, a dangerous illusion born of pure arrogance. Every step the wise man takes is a silent prayer, a deliberate choice to reject earthly desires. He stops to help a fallen traveler on the steep path, showing mercy where the foolish show disgust. The fool pushes aside the poor and the broken ones, demanding the entire road for his grand parade. He surrounds himself with yes-men who praise his every word, building a fortress of absolute deceit. The wise man reaches a small resting place upon the cliff, drinking water from a simple leather flask. He looks down at the valley, seeing the fool's parade, feeling only profound pity for their lost souls. The arrogant fool looks up and mocks the wise man's bitter struggle, calling him a madman for choosing such pain. But the wise man understands that temporary comfort is often the greatest enemy of the soul. He wipes the sweat from his brow and continues his climb, his heart anchored to eternal promises. The wide road begins to slope gently downward now, accelerating the fool's tragic and fatal fall. Yet the fool notices nothing, captivated by the loud music and the flowing rivers of red wine. The wise man's hands are bleeding from the jagged mountain rocks, but his brave spirit grows stronger with each mile. He knows that the immense pressure of the mountain forms the diamond, while the soft valley produces only dust. A dark shadow briefly passes over the fool's grand parade, a subtle warning of the coming storm. He ignores the shadow, raising his golden cup higher, demanding the musicians play a louder tune. The wise man studies the changing colors of the sky, recognizing the ancient signs of heavy rain. He hastens his pace toward the safety of the summit, knowing the time for preparation is quite short. The true divide between these men is now clearly exposed. It is not their wealth, but their chosen vision. We now enter the city gates, a place of ancient judgment, where the true nature of the heart is tested. An old and strict elder sits by the massive stone pillars, holding the sacred scrolls of absolute truth. The wise man approaches the elder with a humble bow, seeking guidance for his tired and weary soul. The elder rebukes the wise man for a hidden flaw, speaking harsh but necessary words of correction. The wise man lowers his head, placing a hand on his chest, accepting the painful truth with deep gratitude. He thanks the strict elder for the bitter medicine, knowing that correction is the path to real life. Suddenly, the fool enters the gate with a loud entrance, disrupting the peaceful silence of the court. The elder points a shaking finger at the arrogant fool, warning him of his highly destructive ways. The fool's face turns entirely red with explosive anger, feeling deeply insulted by the honest words. He violently flips a wooden table filled with market goods, screaming defensive excuses at the judge. He points his finger back at the wise and silent elder, projecting his own failures onto the innocent. A fool despises correction and mocks heavy discipline, protecting his fragile ego at any cost. He storms out of the city gates in a blinding rage, missing the final chance to change his tragic fate. If you were publicly corrected for a bitter mistake, would you humbly bow or fiercely defend your pride? The scene shifts to the burning heat of the harvest season, where the value of time is truly revealed. The wise man stands in a dry and dusty, barren field, his tunic completely soaked in heavy, honest sweat. He carefully buries tiny seeds into the cracked brown soil, trusting the hidden process of natural growth. His muscles ache from carrying heavy ashlar stone blocks, building a strong foundation for his future home. He sacrifices the pleasures of the current passing day, securing his survival for the harsh winter months. In brutal contrast, the fool lies upon soft silk cushions, sheltered inside a lavish and cool banquet hall. He lazily tosses silver coins to the dancing servants, wasting his vast inheritance on fleeting joys. He looks out the window at the wise man's heavy labor, laughing loudly at such miserable existence. The fool believes that time is an endless flowing river, assuming tomorrow will always bring fresh new wine. He eats the finest roasted meats and drinks the sweetest wine, refusing to store any grain in his large barns. The wise man strikes the rock with his heavy iron hammer, shaping the cornerstones with ultimate precision. He understands that a house built without painful labor will quickly crumble when the bitter winds arrive. The fool dances wildly in the center of the grand room, surrounded by fake friends who only love his wealth. He completely ignores the cracks forming in his own walls, too drunk on power to notice the decay. The wise man finishes his planting as the sun goes down, his hands covered in dirt, but his conscience very clean. The fool passes out on the floor, covered in spilled red wine, his mind clouded by illusions of grandeur. Time is the ultimate judge of all human decisions, revealing the harvest of both the wise and the fools. The seeds of the wise man slowly take root in the dark earth, building invisible strength beneath the ground. The fool's wasted silver coins buy him nothing but regrets, a fleeting illusion fading into dust. We arrive at the ultimate peak of human arrogance, where the fatal blow of destiny is finally struck. The ancient texts declare that pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a tragic fall. The fool stands on the massive balcony of his grand house, a structure built entirely on shifting sea sand. He holds a heavy crown of solid gold in his soft hands, placing it upon his own head with extreme pride. He spreads his arms wide to embrace the ocean's gentle breeze, declaring himself the master of his own fate. He looks at the dark storm clouds gathering on the horizon, dismissing them as a minor passing shadow. In a bold metaphor, the fool ties a red silk blindfold tightly across his own unseeing, foolish eyes. He runs blindly forward into a field of hidden traps, smiling a massive grin of absolute delusion. He believes his immense wealth makes him truly invincible, ignoring the fragile nature of his ground. High above the raging sea, on the solid bedrock mountain, the wise man continues his careful design. He kneels on the unforgiving stone, with heavy iron tools, wedging massive ashlar blocks into the deep earth. His clothes are torn and covered in gray, powdery stone dust, but his structure is perfectly aligned and square. He does not build for mere beauty or visual charm, but for raw endurance against the coming wrath. The wise man secures the final cornerstone into its place, wiping the heavy sweat from his deeply lined brow. He looks down at the fool's grand palace on the beach, knowing the sandy foundation is already doomed. Do you rely on your own fragile ego for daily strength, or do you seek wisdom from a higher source? The fool orders his servants to light the festive torches, demanding the music play louder in the wind. He boldly refuses to acknowledge the dropping pressure, his sheer arrogance blinding him to truth. The wise man seals the heavy wooden cedar doors, stepping inside the dark, quiet safety of his home. He lights a small and humble fire in the stone fireplace, sitting down to wait for the inevitable storm. The wind begins to howl through the narrow mountain passes, carrying the scent of heavy rain and destruction. The fool's silk banners violently tear in the rising gale, yet he continues to drink from his golden cup. He shouts defiance at the darkening and angry heavens, challenging the Creator to strike his mighty house. The wise man slowly opens an ancient parchment scroll, reading the eternal promises of ultimate truth. He feels the solid rock beneath his feet gently vibrating, but his heart remains in a state of perfect peace. The fool's guests finally begin to panic and flee the hall, realizing their host has sealed their tragic fate. He desperately tries to command the roaring ocean waves, a pathetic display of mortal weakness. The heavy raindrops begin to strike the weak mud brick walls, melting the grand facade of the sandy palace. The line between true wisdom and absolute foolishness is tested by the merciless forces of nature. The massive wrath of nature descends with absolute fury upon the darkened and trembling earth. Massive lightning bolts tear the pitch-black sky apart, illuminating the chaotic destruction. A terrifying hurricane wind crashes against the towering solid rock of the high mountain. The firm, unyielding ashlar stone walls absorb the brutal impact without shifting a single inch. Inside this mighty fortress, the wise man sits entirely peacefully beside the small, glowing orange fire. He wraps a thick, dry woolen mantle tightly around his shoulders against the bitter, freezing cold. His face reflects the deeply comforting warmth of the flames, showing absolutely no signs of fear. He watches the raging storm through a narrow window, completely secure in his daily heavy labor. The heavy rain cannot wash away a foundation built upon the principles of eternal truth. Meanwhile, deep down in the coastal valley, the sandy ground quickly turns into a treacherous swamp. A massive flood of dark, muddy water rushes violently toward the fool's majestic palace. The entirely unstable sand shifts beneath the beautiful painted walls of his magnificent home. Without a truly solid anchor, the bricks begin to crack, and the grand wooden pillars fiercely snap. The arrogant fool drops his golden crown in absolute terror as the massive ceiling caves in. His luxurious red silk robes are instantly shredded and swallowed by the filthy, rushing mud. He screams loudly in deep despair, desperately clawing at the broken debris of his shattered empire. The bitter reality of his foolish choices finally strikes him with an unforgiving force. All the silver coins he threw away cannot purchase a single second of safety or rescue. His false friends have completely vanished into the deep darkness, leaving him to face the wrath alone. A massive wave of dark, churning water completely engulfs the very last of his ruined walls. The house built on sand collapses with a terrifying roar, vanishing beneath the muddy flood. Nothing remains of his arrogant pride except the tragic and heavy silence of total loss. The massive storm slowly begins to pass, leaving the rugged mountain standing tall in the morning light. The wise man steps safely out of his sturdy stone door, breathing the fresh and newly purified air. He looks down at the washed-away valley, a silent testament to the high cost of foolishness. Wisdom is not an inherited treasure, but a daily choice to build upon the solid rock. The ancient Book of Proverbs clearly warns us that arrogance will eventually blind our souls. True intelligence is knowing your own mortal limits and embracing the divine discipline. Do not be deceived by the temporary glitter of the wide and heavily traveled avenue. Every decision you make is a stone placed into the permanent foundation of your life. You cannot escape the inevitable storms. You can only choose exactly where you build your home. The fool seeks comfort for today, but the wise man sacrifices today for a better tomorrow. We are all given the same heavy burden of time and the profound freedom to choose our way. Look deeply into your heart and honestly evaluate the invisible structures you create. Are you nurturing the patient spirit of wisdom, or feeding the dangerous ego of a fool? The ancient stones of the past continue to whisper their harsh, undeniable truths to the present. Your grand destiny is written by the silent decisions you make when no one else is watching. When the brutal storms of life arrive, will your newly chosen foundation withstand the violent flood? Is the fool the victim of pure ignorance, or the architect of his own destruction? Tell us. If this deep, ancient wisdom resonated with you, please subscribe, like, and share it with your friends.